Brilliant knowledge, breaking barriers, changing the game. Claude projects on the docket, it's the AI tool. Transforming education, it's the ultimate school. With AI at the helm, you know we're breaking the mold. Innovate, educate, watch the future unfold. It's a webinar jam for the teaching clan. With Dan Fitzpatrick, the AI man. Special guest in the house, Ben Whitaker's fly. AKA the ideas guy, let's reach for the sky. Claude projects in the spotlight, AI's newest jewel. Empowering teachers, making classrooms cool. Analyze, optimize with precision and ease. Saving time, boosting minds, it's a teacher's breeze. Dan Fitzpatrick on the mic, sharing tips and tricks. How to harness AI, make it all click. Ben Whitaker steps in, ideas flow like a stream. Creativity and tech, the ultimate dream. It's a webinar jam for the teaching clan. With Dan Fitzpatrick, the AI man. Special guest in the house, Ben Whitaker's fly. AKA the ideas guy, let's reach for the sky. Around, let me tell you what's in store. A webinar for educators, you ain't seen this before. Hosted by the AI educator, Dan Fitzpatrick's the name. Brilliant knowledge, breaking barriers, changing the game. Claude projects on the docket, it's the AI tool. Transforming education, it's the ultimate school. With AI at the helm, you know we're breaking the mold. Innovate, educate, watch the future unfold. It's a webinar jam for the teaching clan. With Dan Fitzpatrick, the AI man. Special guest in the house, Ben Whitaker's fly. AKA the ideas guy, let's reach for the sky. Claude projects in the spotlight, AI's newest jewel. Empowering teachers, making classrooms cool. Analyze, optimize with precision and ease. Saving time, boosting minds, it's a teacher's breeze. Dan Fitzpatrick on the mic, sharing tips and tricks. How to harness AI, make it all click. Ben Whitaker steps in, ideas flow like a stream. Creativity and tech, the ultimate dream. It's a webinar jam for the teaching clan. With Dan Fitzpatrick, the AI man. Special guest in the house, Ben Whitaker's fly. AKA the ideas guy, let's reach for the sky. Around, let me tell you what's in store. A webinar for educators, you ain't seen this before. Hosted by the AI educator, Dan Fitzpatrick's the name. Brilliant knowledge, breaking barriers, changing the game. Claude projects on the docket, it's the AI tool. Transforming education, it's the ultimate school. With AI at the helm, you know we're breaking the mold. Innovate, educate, watch the future unfold. It's a webinar jam for the teaching clan. With Dan Fitzpatrick, the AI man. Special guest in the house, Ben Whitaker's fly. AKA the ideas guy, let's reach for the sky. Claude projects in the spotlight, AI's newest jewel. Empowering teachers, making classrooms cool. Analyze, optimize with precision and ease. Saving time, boosting minds, it's a teacher's breeze. Dan Fitzpatrick on the mic, sharing tips and tricks. How to harness AI, make it all click. Ben Whitaker steps in, ideas flow like a stream. Creativity and tech, the ultimate dream. It's a webinar jam for the teaching clan. With Dan Fitzpatrick, the AI man. Special guest in the house, Ben Whitaker's fly. AKA the ideas guy, let's reach for the sky.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar. Really excited about this one. It's kind of this. I nearly said second in a series. It's not really a series. These are just kind of random. But it's the second one in the last few weeks. If you missed the last one, I was with Stephen Johnson, who is a prolific best-selling author in the United States and is the editorial director at Google Labs. And we talked about Google Notebook LM, which I'm sure will probably come back up in today's webinar as we talk about Claude projects as well. I'm really excited about our special guest who's going to be joining us for this one, who will I will reveal in just a few minutes. Please do let us know where you're joining us from in the chat. It's great to see so many of you out there. We've got Varun in Mumbai, Patricia in Mumbai as well. There's a big Indian representation there. Someone from Manchester. Nice. I've just got to say before we start, really sorry for the song. The cheesiest song you will ever hear, but I just couldn't resist. But in fact, let's bring Ben in now. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm very well, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. This is as I'm sure needs no introduction to many of you. This is Ben Whitaker, the ideas guy. Ben, you were messaging me while the song was playing there. Big fan?
I'm a big fan. Anything AI generated, I'm going to be a big fan, my friend. I was laughing at.
I spent all week producing that.
It's just that funky hip hop, right? It's the thing. I think it's taking me back to my roots.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do, isn't it? So yeah, that was created with Udio, so udio.com. I know Ben, you like to use Suno as well, don't you?
Yeah, like sometimes you get it's swings and roundabouts between the two, right? Apples and oranges. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things out there in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to bring this in just so if you've never come across us, we'll do a bit of an intro into who we are. So my name's Dan Fitzpatrick. I am a teacher and former educational leader and write on AI. Have a book out, The AI Classroom, which I don't carry this with me everywhere I go, but I've got it here for a reason, which we'll mention in just a few minutes. I've just realized I tried to change the slide and I'm not even on the right window. There we go. I've got Ben with me. Ben has been a good friend of mine for many years. We taught together. He's co-host, co-founder, director of the EduFuturist podcast, educational consultant, author of the upcoming book, The Ideas Guy, which I'm really excited about, and you should be too. And former teacher and senior leader in schools and colleges. Have I hit all the bases there, Ben?
I think so, my friend. Yeah. Thank you.
You seem really shy. That's the first time I've ever seen you kind of go coy.
Well, you know, I'm a bit shy, really.
So there's people joining us from all over the world. If you're wondering about the accent, I'm from Newcastle in the northeast of England. Ben, would you like to tell everyone where you're from?
Is that because you can't say it, or I'm from a little town called Oswaldtwistle. It's not in the Shire. Well, it is. It's in Lancashire. Just about 40 minutes from Manchester. So I'm in the northwest of England, just the other side from Dan. Not too far away from Dan.
Amazing. Yeah, tell us about your book, because I'm really excited about this. I know you've been working on this for a long time, and there's going to be a lot in it.
Yeah, so the book's called The Ideas Guy, Unleash Your Inner Genius. That's its thing. I'm about to release next week. The cover has just been confirmed, which is exciting. That you know that you're starting to get somewhere when a cover's been confirmed, right? So yeah, it's based on a framework that a lot of people ask me, what do I do for work? Using my wife or kids or family. And I say a lot of it is about helping people form and frame ideas. So ideas being innovation, digital, education, authenticity, and strategy. So how do I help people form and frame anything around those things? So the book is looking at a number of different people in each of those 5 areas who have been ideas guys. And that term is not a masculine term. There's an explanation about that in the book. But yeah, how we can learn from some of the other people that have had great ideas, and how we can unleash that into our own space as well. So that's hopefully going to come out back end of this year. But yeah, watch this space.
Amazing. And I think kind of accompanying what you do as well, you bring out resources to help people really help with ideas. And I think there's one of them. I've got my trusted Ideas Guy cards here. So Ben produces packs of cards that help teams ask the right questions, I guess. Is that right, Ben?
Yeah. So I create like questions that are supposed to either work within teams. You can use it individually as in your own reflective practice, but within teams as well to ask the questions that we need to ask. So a question might be, okay, whose voices do we need to hear that are in this room? Or it might be,
fact,
what does 10x? But yeah,
Ben didn't know I was going to do this. I didn't know I was going to do this until 3 seconds ago. But should we give them a shuffle? I'm going to ask you.
Yeah,
shall I ask you a question?
Good idea.
So is there 52 cards in here, a bit like a standard deck of cards?
50 cards. Yeah,
50 cards?
Yeah, 50, yeah.
50. So we've got 50 cards here, and so let's go for the top one. What creative avenues can you explore to share your personal narrative and inspire others? That's a deep question.
Yeah, it is, right. So, and the whole principle around that. So, like, what creative avenues can you go down? So, is that video, music, writing? Could it be could it be podcasting? Could it be expressing this in the form of dance? It could be anything, right? To explore your narrative and how do you tell your story? What does your story look like? But then if that question around how do you inspire others as well? So yeah, often what I find myself doing is when somebody picks out a question like that, I say, well, how do you unpick that question? So you're going to think about creative avenues. How do you express your storytelling, your narrative, your story, and then how do you inspire others? And what do them elements mean? So one question, the answer to a profound question is often another profound question, right? So it's that, how do you keep asking questions?
Amazing. And yeah, we've got, so Ben's going to give, he's been really kind, he's going to give a deck of these cards away. I'm going to throw in one of the AI classroom books signed, and we're going to give this pack away to somebody who is with us right now. I know a lot of people are watching this on repeat. Repeat? Who says repeat anymore? I feel I sound like my dad. A lot of people are watching this on catch up. Is the
catch up.
On YouTube, the recorded. So if you are watching it, you can't win, unfortunately. It's just for those who are live with us today. So get your questions into the chat wherever you're joining us from. Over on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Get your questions in. We can see all the questions coming in, and then at the end, we're going to choose one. I think, Ben, if you've been the guest, if you'd like to choose one, that would be amazing. Somebody who's going to win it. Try and keep it to the UK because of postage costs, if you could, mate. No, I'm joking. No, pick anyone. We'll get it to you. We'll get it to you. Amazing to see so many people joining us. We got Leighton Buzzard, Bedfordshire in the UK, Essex, UK, Cincinnati, Ohio. Another Mumbai, Cambridgeshire in the UK, Canada, Arkansas. Thank you so much for joining us, and we better jump into it because we're here to talk about Claude and Claude projects. So I want to kind of start with a bit of a disclaimer. Last time we talked about Google Notebook LM, which is free. It's mainly free because it's an experimental project and they're still building it, they're still learning from it. And the tool we're going to talk about today is a paid product. Now, I don't know about you, Ben, but when I go around and talk to schools, you can almost you can sense when you say to people, "Oh, this is a paid product," like, "Oh." But the one thing I always say is, if you want something of quality, there has to be a quality team behind it, a quality business who are building the product. And unfortunately, it's not going to come free. So it is all about selecting the right tools for you, and trying this out. So if you think that this might be something for you and your teams, then I would say even just try it out for 1 month. Does that sound about right to you, Ben?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, £18 a month in the UK, $23 in the US. If you want the team version, then it's a bit more pricier, but because you get extra functionality there. What is Claude? I think when I do a lot of work around this, I mainly talk about ChatGPT because ChatGPT has kind of become synonymous for all these types of tools because it was kind of one of the first ones to really launch and catch everybody's attention. So if you're familiar with ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude is very much of a very, very similar tool created by a company called Anthropic. And they don't get as much media coverage as, say, Google and ChatGPT, but their latest model, via some benchmarking, seems to be better than them. So you can see here their very latest model, which is Claude 3.5 Sonnet. well, yeah, you can see that for yourself. So graduate level reasoning, it's doing better there. In fact, it's doing better on all those measures, apart from the 0 shot on undergraduate level knowledge, where ChatGPT 4.0 for Omni just beats it by 0.4%. So it is the one we're going to be looking at today is the most advanced model of its kind, and you do get free access to it with a free Claude account. So you don't actually have to pay to get access to their latest model. It is restricted in how much you can use it, a bit like trying to use the latest model on the free version of ChatGPT. But we're going to specifically look at Claude projects. So when you've got a paid account, you get access to something called Claude projects, which essentially is the ability to create a bit more of a personalized, customized chatbot, I guess, for to put it really simply, where you can feed the context. And if you were with us last time with the Notebook LM, you'll start to see some overlap here, some similarities. And myself and Ben want to get into that towards the end of this webinar and kind of look at, well, maybe what's the difference here? Also, maybe bring in GPTs by OpenAI, which are quite similar. So you can give it a persistent context. So you feed it its core knowledge, and it's always using that core knowledge. You can customize that knowledge base. You can give it tailored instructions. So anyone out there who's familiar with prompting and having to prompt a tool like this to get what you want, you just have to do that once and give it some basic prompts, and it will always stick by those prompts no matter what you're doing. It's got collaboration features. If you got the team version, so you can a lot of people can be shared into projects, and you can share projects with other people. It's got a large context window, which essentially means that customized knowledge base you give it can be very big, and it's the equivalent to a 50-page book as what you can give it. Slightly less, I say slightly, a lot less than Notebook LM last time, which I think was 25 million words, which was absolutely crazy. But a 50-page book, in fact, no, sorry, that should be 500-page book, not a 50-page book, a 500-page book, and an organized workspace. So it's not just one-off chats that we're used to with these tools, but you get like an organized workspace where you can revisit old conversations within the one project. And so let's jump into it. So I'm going to share this tab. This is kind of what it looks like. I suppose not too dissimilar to like ChatGPT or Google Gemini. On the basis, looks a bit like a WhatsApp conversation or a Facebook Messenger conversation type thing. What I thought we'd do, Ben, is let's build from scratch. Let's try and do something that's related to education, and then you can show us kind of some of the cool stuff you've been doing with it as well. So I thought we'd start off going really simple. So I'm just gonna go back over there, and in the left hand bar, as you can see there, you've got start new chat, or you've got the projects button. So I'm going to click projects. And I'm going to click in the top right-hand corner here, the orange button which says Create Project. Then I'm going to name it. So what I want to do is let's create a unit of work. Okay, so for some UK Year 8 students, USA grade 9, I think it is. It's always one out, and I can never remember. You don't know, Ben, do you?
I'm exactly the same. I'm laughing because I do exactly the same. I just say they're about 12.
Yeah. I know it's either the grading systems are the one above or one below in the US, but maybe someone can tell us on the chat. So if you've got Year 8 students in the UK, like 12, 13-year-olds. So what project you're working on? So I'm just going to name this Tectonics Unit of Work. Then it says, what are you trying to achieve? So I'm going to put a unit of work for UK Year 8 students on tectonic plates. I will use this project to create, let's say, lesson plans, resources, case studies, etc. So click Create Project. And then we get, this is kind of, how I was talking before about the workspace you get. This is the workspace that you get. So just to give you a little walk around before we do any more, obviously the chat box here is where you start your new conversations, and you can choose that latest version that we were just talking about, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, or you can go down to some earlier versions, which are still pretty much really, really good. You've got a history of your chats below, and that's a history of just your chats in this project. So, and I'll show you how you can almost like organize them, a bit like you might organize folders within a file. And then over here is where you add your content. So I'm just going to click add content, and you can click add text content, and you can copy and paste content into there. I'm just going to upload from device, and I've got a few I have prepped here. So those are going to upload for us, and I've just uploaded some information on the UK national curriculum when it comes to teaching this topic. I've got some information on objectives and what to expect, and then some information on the actual content of what students would learn of that age. So we'll just give it a few seconds there to upload. And while it's doing that, Ben, so do you, I suppose I called it a workspace interface before, whatever it is. Do you like it? Do you like this setup, this user interface?
I do like user interface. I think I like Claude's user interface. I think we were talking just before I went live. Like I like Claude's interface just because I feel like I'm not being overwhelmed. I don't know if it's because it's on a more grey background than a white back. I don't know. Maybe it's just superficial in my mind from a UI perspective. But from a project setup, what I do like here is it separates this from your normal chats, which is good for somebody like me who needs organization and struggles with folder systems and all the things that go with that. The second thing that I would say that's important in this space is that there are a whole host of opportunities for you to navigate your the project knowledge that you want to put in there. So your uploads, as you're putting them uploads in there, you've got a whole host of options to put into it, and I think that really works. Doesn't mean you're not limited to a certain file type or whatever else. It does work better if it's a certain file type, but yeah, I like it because I think it's user friendly. It's intuitive. If you're used to using ChatGPT or any other of those models, I think it will make sense, but you can obviously contextualize it with this knowledge, project knowledge that you're adding into it. Oh yeah, I've just spotted there, Matthew.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Is one below. I always go for one above. One below. So we got so grade yes, rate in the UK, grade 7. What I've done is I'm so glad I did this. I was playing around with this earlier and did this earlier. Just to practice it almost. Because it's not uploading my files, so I'm so glad I've already got this. I think it's because, and I know Ben, we used to do a podcast together, and you always used to joke, "Have you paid your Wi-Fi bill?" Literally, my Wi-Fi is terrible. I've just today bought Virgin Fiber, but they're not installing it till August. So yeah.
Okay.
So we're. So I'm so glad I've done this. So because we've got now, so as you can see on the right-hand side, I uploaded those resources that I explained. And it says at the top there, 52% of knowledge size used. So I think one of those is quite a big document. So we've almost used half of the knowledge up there. And then you get a bit here, I'm going to click edit so you can see it, called custom instructions. And it says, set custom instructions for project, instruct Claude how to behave and respond for all of the chats within Tectonic's unit of work. How should Claude respond? So this is where you're just laying some ground rules for it. Now, obviously, within this project, if you're using this project for lots of different types of activities, you might not want to go really detailed on this. You might want to leave this prompting bit to the actual conversation. But I think, and anyone follows my work in the prep method, so propose, role, explicit instructions, and presentation of things that you can add into a prompt, you can get some of these in here. So you can see that I've given it a bit of a role. So I've said, you are an expert in plate tectonics with outstanding knowledge. You're also a brilliant teacher who creates engaging learning materials that help students progress at pace. Always respond in a professional tone. So I'll give it some kind of presentation instructions there. If you feel like you need to ask me more questions to make your resources better, then ask me concise questions and bullet points. Always order them from most impactful to least. So I don't just want this to be a bit of a yes man, bit of a yeah, okay, I'll do that for you, I'll do that for you. I want it to be actively engaged in the back and forth of this collaboration of what we're going to create. So I wanted to ask questions and self-reflect. And then at the bottom, I put use a range of formatting options that best suit the type of content you are creating. So just some general instructions. I wanted to try and if something would fit better in a table, I wanted to be able to do that, for example. So just some kind of ground rules there. And I don't know about you, Ben, have you played around with giving it those custom instructions? Do you find it makes much of an impact?
I do think it does, because it gives it that context. I think sometimes you have to remind it. It's the same with the other tool, that it forgets sometimes. Oh, you've asked for UK English, or you've asked for a table, but just a reminder. So it's not always foolproof. But what I would say is it's worth that time to try and like dig into getting your customer, because often you're then going to have to manipulate that into a different format. So yeah, it's worth the time.
Awesome, yeah. So if you're joining us, amazing, thank you. We've got just over 160 people joining us. If you do need to take off, though, I will email you the recording tomorrow as well, so that you've got that with us, but you will have to stay on if you want to win those prizes. So let's head back over to this. So, and you can see some of the conversations I've started to have. So let me take you into the unit plan. So this was the one I started off with. So I'm going to open this conversation. I'm just going to show you what kind of the things I asked. So very simply at the start, I said, help me plan a unit overview of 22 lesson unit for grade 9 students. See, even when I was prepping this, I thought it was grade 9. Terrible. Now I know it's grade 7. Thank you, Matthew. So we've got here, so it says, thank you for the opportunity to assist. Very polite. With planning a unit overview. And straight away, before it plans it wants to ask me questions. So it's using the instructions I've already given it. So it wants to be honest, really valid questions that it's going to need to know to do this job. One or two of the questions I thought, actually, you can find that information in the knowledge I've already given you. So that's what I told it. So I said, each lesson is 60 minutes in length. Please work out the best learning objectives from the content you are trained on. Please work out the students' prior knowledge from the content you are trained on, because one of the documents was a table that explained what the students had been learning previously in the year. And then I've answered some of the other questions and added some more detail there. And then it's given me a bit of an overview. I wasn't too happy with it, so I edited it. In fact, I went back up and edited it as I was doing it, and got an overview which I thought is an okay start. And actually at the top here, you can see it's organized a bit like folders. So if you're used to using something like Google Drive or the folder system on your computer, you'll see it's got that / and then it takes you into the conversation. So I just need to click back and it'll take me back to the project interface. And then one of the parts of the unit was to create a student project. So 4 weeks were going to be dedicated, or 4 lessons were going to be dedicated to a student project. So I started a new conversation on planning that project. So right at the top here, help me plan the 4-lesson student project. I wanted to know some objectives, so I went back to the previous conversation, the overview, which gives some objectives, and put them into here. And then it's helped me, and I asked for it to be based on design thinking. And I had a bit of a back and forth with it, where I got it to a point where I thought that's workable. And then just to show you what else I did, I was playing around with a bit of a student dashboard on earthquake data. So I managed to get a spreadsheet file of some earthquake data online, and I got it to analyze the data, and then it gave me some code that I can then take over to a third-party app if I need to, and it actually tells me which ones I can take it over to. It gives me the clear instructions, and then I can put that code into it and create that data dashboard as a resource for the ongoing unit. So just a quick overview of a simple way that a teacher could use this tool, really. So planning a new unit of work, get all your resources in there, using one of the best AIs out there, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and everything you ask it, it's going to be using that knowledge base. And then you've got that, like Ben was saying as well, you've got that nice interface where you've got all your different chats and you can give them a different title. So you can say, I've given them some nice clean titles. So they're a bit like files within a folder that I can return to, carry on the conversations, or take the information out and actually start to use it. So just as a way in for how this works, what it looks like, it's not overly complex. It's quite straightforward. But I like that because you can start doing what you want to do with it straight away. Don't forget, we've got the ideas guy, Ben Whitaker's cards and the book to give away. Get your questions in or get your comments in. We're going to choose one at the end. So let's see some good questions coming in. We'll try and do a bit of a Q&A at the end as well. Ben, I'm going to, because I know you've been doing some really cool stuff with this. So can I put your screen on?
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, take it away. Let's see what you've been up to.
Yeah, so just a couple of projects that you can see there. The first one, how to use Claude, is theirs. I've updated these recently, so you can see ready for this webinar today. I'm going to give you the first one. So the first one, to give a bit of context, I run some online digital boot camps with businesses in the northwest of England in the Liverpool City region, and been doing that for a few years. So we have an impending Ofsted visit, which is new for the organisation. I've been through Ofsted a few times, but some of the people that are involved haven't. And so I would
Ben, just for people who are not in the UK, what's Ofsted again?
Yeah, no worries. The inspector. So in the UK, we have an inspection body that come and inspect organisations that deliver education primarily. So Ofsted are our inspection body, and obviously they will grade a provision or a boot camp or a school or a college. And so I was asked to pull together some preparation information for that. And so I thought projects was a great opportunity to do that. So I, as you can see in the context, I asked for a set of ideas for a team to be armed with appropriate responses to an Ofsted monitoring visit for our skills boot camp. So that was my context that I gave it. And then I uploaded a few different elements. So the customer instructions that I gave it, I asked for professional tone, UK English, focus on the English education structure, and be aware of UK Ofsted guidance. They're the things that I asked it for. So, and that's what my custom instructions were. But I also uploaded a whole host of details here. So the first thing is I'd done a quality improvement plan for the organisation. That was its first thing, so that we knew what we were already looking for as a what we were focusing on. So our self-assessment procedure was. Then I gave it our self-assessment report that we'd done from April, our most recent one. I've given it our curriculum overview. I've given it a PDF document, which is a presentation of wave 4. So basically the most recent type of boot camps, what the guidance was. I'd also given it an inspection handbook, the most recent inspection handbook from Ofsted. And then I had already asked Claude in its chat version to give me some potential Ofsted questions that might get asked as part of an inspection. So I uploaded it there, and you can see I'd used 32% of my knowledge size. So based on that, what Dan was talking about there, that 500-page book, as I would say in Lancashire, I've not even touched the slides really, so I could give it more context if I needed to. So that's the information that it's working from. And then I started chatting with it. And so just only a couple of things here, and I can actually live go into this again. So I need to develop a comprehensive preparation information, and I put a spelling mistake in on purpose for my team of associates delivering on this boot camp. So it basically drafts a letter or an email talking about an overview. So it's used all of that project information I've given it, and it's kind of summarized it for an individual as an associate that might only be doing one session out of 8, might only drop in for half an hour or whatever. So they've got like a crib sheet in many ways. which explains about how Ofsted works, what we're looking at, what our intent, implementation, and impact are, which are some of the measures that they use, and then talk about some of our data that's sat in there. Now, it's a really simple way to deal with it, but now I'm going to ask it, okay, based on the Ofsted questions, how could we respond as associates? So it's basically going to go into the documentation that's already in there and going to help me as an associate or the associates, and I could train other team members on this. I need to be able to talk about these elements. These are things that we're working on. These are what we need to do. Okay, so based on that, you need to be able to justify the course length. You need to be talking about what your quality assurance procedures are, what your preparation for the next steps are, and that they're all confidently discuss them. But I actually don't think is, please, could you use the information provided to answer the Ofsted questions I gave you? Let's see if it does it. It might not be perfect, but it's an experimental tool now. So you can see, so the Ofsted style questions, these are the questions that I asked it for. How long is it? What's the learner progress and outcomes? I asked it questions about employer engagement. How do we know? What support the learners get? What the next steps are, and how we prepare learners to leave this program. So what it's done is it's allowed me to put multiple different elements together and then be able to have a conversation with it. Because what tends to happen in just the bog standard chat, it feels like you're having to contextually, it's not, you feels like it can't use all of them efficiently. This, because you've given it custom instructions within this project itself, makes it a little bit more user friendly. The other bit that that I'll use, and if anybody's got any questions on that, I'm more than happy to take them. The other example that I used is I'm going to be building a new website for the Ideas Guy. So obviously I'm using a bit of a landing page at the moment, but I think just from a different context that might not be just about how it might be used by teachers, this could be used by organisations, whether you're in education or not. And so in the same way, I want to pull together important information and content for my website, give it some more context. I've also given it some custom instructions. And then what I've done is I've given it my one-pager as a CV. I've given it my book, which it says is a very large file. I've given it a copy of my conversation cards that Dan was talking about earlier. And that's the context I've given it. So now, from that, which is very different than what I'm asking it for, I've asked it to give me the outline for a website that I could use. And it's given me what it feels like I need to include in my website based on, I've not given it an old website, I've not given it any other context, just the information I've put on there. And it's bang on. Like, it really, really is bang on. It talks about the physical idea guide, cards, decks, books and other merchandise and digital products, anything that I offer, which I offer all of them. And then I've put, how would you structure each page? And it's given me a structure of what I could put on each page. And then I've put, what's the best option for web development for me? And then it talks through the different pros and cons of WordPress, Squarespace, others. Then I've asked it for some other options. So now I can make a really informed decision about how to build a website for me. So yes, what I'm suggesting here is that if I'm a brand new from scratch, wanting to create a website, but I've got some context, this ties into it. So yes, what might this look like from an education perspective? So if a student or a teacher is trying to do this around create a project that's a web-based project, you could use some of this context, or even if it's not a presentation project or something similar. So yeah, this is just an example that I've used, or a couple of examples I've used.
I love that. I think, yeah, I mean, just if I was a teacher and thought I want to create a website for my students, I just got no idea where to begin. Just get all the content in there like you did, and I really like that. We're moving into that area, aren't we, where we kind of know where AI is going in over the next few months and next few years, into that more kind of personalized space. Now, it's not fully there yet. You got to pre-train it. It's going to get a lot better, but actually, if you spend a bit of time getting the right information in there, getting the context right, getting the customized instructions right, it can be that true assistant for you. And I think somebody who's never created a website before could look at this and go, well, actually. And then, like you said, it gives you recommendations of platforms to use as well. It literally holds your hand if you wanted to and show you what to do. I love that. I love that example, because it's not just creating content for students. It's actually, well, how do we be a bit more dynamic with this deal and learn something that we might not actually know how to do ourselves as well.
Yeah, and also put into that, Dan, that I'm not a website developer, so I need to have some understanding in this space. So it's understanding that I know there's a lot of things I don't know, and in that way, what I find that this might be useful with is that I could ask it to create me some code or some debug some code as well for me. So, like, if I needed to, so if I got into that space where I was just lost and I don't understand why this is not working, it can support in that element of the project as well if I needed it to.
Yeah, absolutely. A good question just coming from Matthew. Is the data knowledge base used to train the model, or is it secure like a notebook LM? I tried to quickly Google that there, but I didn't get a chance. So honestly, I don't know. If someone can, it shouldn't be too difficult to find out through a quick Google or a quick look on the website. So if you do find out, please do just stick it in the chat for us so we can all see it. It would surprise me if it was just carte blanche, all of your data went to train the model, because Ben's just give his book away if that's the case.
Dang it. delete, reverse.
Yeah, amazing. I've put some, Ben, in the comments bit. Have you got access to the starred tab?
I have, yeah.
I've just went through and starred a few things that we could probably have a look at. So I'll just go from top to bottom, I guess. Can Claude projects create activities based on uploaded content to aid student learning and comprehension?
Yeah, absolutely it can. I think it doesn't. It depends on format, right? So it's not going to create it into a hexagonal project, or it's not going to necessarily, because it doesn't create in that space like some of the other tools do. That are some of the layers, and I know that one of the other questions is about some of the layers that are bolted onto this, like what some people call AI wrappers. I don't know if that's a fair phrase or not. So no, it doesn't. But in terms of giving it some uploaded content of a specification or a EHCP education healthcare plan in the UK, or special additional needs information, obviously anonymized because you don't want to put that data into the space, but that kind of SEND needs plus some specification, and then ask it to create some activities that are bespoke for that student, or even if it's not for additional needs, but yeah, to aid student learning, an activity to do this to ensure that students comprehend this concept. Absolutely, it could do that.
100%. And I think I suppose it's become one of my favorite answers whenever I get questions now, which is just ask it, see what it can do, and it might not be amazing first time, but keep going with it, keep digging with it, and it's a conversation, and just like a conversation with a human, the deeper you dig, the more quality you're gonna get. So keep going with it, keep pushing it, see what you can get there, Maven. Thanks for that question. Next question: have others found them given fake citations? The ones I generally get are actual ones. I think this was part of a cluster of different comments from Michael where he said, I think Claude have just started warning people that citations might be fake, and he's saying he generally gets genuine citations. Have you had that issue before, Ben?
Not in Claude yet. I have obviously seen hallucination in lots of other things, but not in projects specifically. But again, it's that whole I mentioned in a college that I was in today, the conversation around the University of California's CRAP test, CRAAP. I think we've talked about it before. I know you've talked about it, Dan. And that actually, in every way, we've just got to check those citations to ensure it runs through the right kind of source criticism that it needs to do. But I haven't seen it personally yet.
Yeah, I think. In fact, I'd never used it. I first come across it in one of your newsletters, Ben. I think a few weeks ago. Yeah, it's a great kind of rule of thumb. I guess I suppose when models don't really when models access the internet. So if you're using ChatGPT, for example, it goes and finds, if you're using the paid version, it goes and finds information from the internet. It's really easy for it to give a link to a source because it's literally just found it on that website. But if you think about it, in its raw form, these language models, then they're not made to give citations, and I usually give an analogy, and that analogy is that let's say we took you and we put you in a library for 10 years, big library, and we said, right, learn everything you can learn. And then we took you out of the library. So you didn't have access to the books anymore. And we asked you questions. I bet you would be amazing at answering a lot of those questions. And probably guessing as well, because of your contextual knowledge would be amazing. So even if you didn't fully know the answer, you probably take a good guess, a bit like what professional quizzes do, because they've got amazing contextual knowledge. However, if we try to pin you down and say, well, actually, where did that answer come from? Give me the book, the ISBN number, the page number, the author, the publisher. It would be very, very tricky for you to do that, and near impossible. And I use that analogy to kind of say, well, it's kind of what we're expecting the AI to do here. It's been trained on all of this information, and then just through probability, it's coming out with the answers. So to then go, well, where's this come from? It's going to use that same probability methodology to try and figure out a citation, and therefore sometimes it comes close. I remember it came up with a citation for me once. It was for a journal, an academic journal, and it actually named the actual university where the professor taught, but then got the professor wrong. So it gave it a good go. The probability was working well, but it can't be accurate. It's not copying and pasting in that regard. It's working out the probability. So not all models, unless they've got extra functionality, work like that. So yeah, that can happen. Jess B, thank you. She said, what would you say the best AI tools for the early years kindergarten are? That's an interesting, it's probably one for another webinar, really. But I think personally there's a few tools I like, but that I think I know some teachers who are using tools like School AI with early years, and tools like Snorkel, where students can speak the answers and the AI gives them feedback based on their speech. I'd just be really, really conscious that some of these tools just aren't made for kids of that age. And just to always work with the people in your organization who do data privacy, be transparent with parents when you're using tools like this, and so on. But I don't know about you, Ben, but when I get asked this question, I always kind of come back to, well, if you want to use any AI tool, we need to have really good literacy levels. We need to have really good, we need to be able to articulate ourselves really well, and I think those foundational skills, I think we need to focus on them just as much as actually sticking AI into a student's hand.
Yeah, agreed. I've been playing with one called Ask Curie, which is in beta as an iPad app currently. But again, you're right. It's about making sure that we're protecting our young people in this space. So I don't think there are a lot to be using with the youngest, but I think we're going to get to that as long as we can do that safely. Yeah, interestingly, some great comments, mate. There's some really good questions in this space, isn't there?
Yeah, amazing. And I've just flicked back to the main stream actually because I was on the start bit. Fantastic. There's a question. This is kind of it's a very popular question. Comes up quite a bit. Curious on your opinion on opinion is of general AI tools, I guess, like ChatGPT, Claude, versus education-specific tools with pre-built prompts and guardrails like Magic School for the average teacher who is new to AI. Yeah, I don't know if you want to come on this, Ben. I've got opinions on this, but would love to know yours.
My opinion is these wrappers or these education-specific tools, I think I get it. I understand that they are entry level, but I would always see it in that space that the big guns in the area are moving at a faster pace, and and I think everybody will try and sell you a tool, and I get it because we want to help educators, so it's not necessarily always in a nefarious way. But my opinion is I would much rather be at the source, but that's probably like you said, like it says on the thing, for the average teacher who's new to AI, I would probably think I understand their entry level, but with the aim of the broader general AI tools being more useful across product range.
Yeah, and yeah, I suppose like tools like ChatGPT, Claude is more customizable. The only thing is you've got to be really good at questioning and knowing how to interact with it to get the most out of it. And sometimes you just want a tool, don't you, where you click and get results. So I think tools like Magic School, I love Magic School, to be honest. I think especially as an entry level tool where you've got teachers in your organization who might just think this whole AI thing is overwhelming. Like if you sat them down in front of Claude and said speak to it, they'd be like, what are you on? This is crazy. Like
let me click a button to create me a scheme of work.
Yeah, like so it might be a really, really nice entry for them. And I know Magic School isn't just that. They've got a lot of more advanced features as well. The student side of it is really cool as well. I think this, what some of the educational tools bring as well, actually we need. So some of them will be able to guarantee data protection, which might be an added layer for you. So for example, if you're using educational versions of like Copilot in Microsoft or Gemini within a Google domain, you will get extra securities on that on your data. Also, just kind of for educational platform functionality, like for example, if you create a chatbot on School AI, you've got an overview of what all of the students are saying. It gives you a nice alert if a student's off track or being inappropriate. You can then intervene. So just for kind of those tools that just make life easier as a teacher, some of the educational tools are better, as you'd expect, because they're geared towards what a teacher needs.
Sure.
Asking Claude, well, let's go. So Laura says, asking Claude if it needs more information with okay. Next, thank you for that, Laura. Having paid for GPT Pro version, I've enjoyed the extra tools, but haven't found too much difference from the free ones. What do you think the threshold is for a teacher investing in Pro?
Well, I think this is like $1 million question. A lot of people are asking, and especially when I've got a wife who's saying, "Why have you got another subscription to another AI tool?" So yeah, I definitely feel that question. I think a lot of the time, threshold tends to be when you keep hitting limits. So you get free limits, obviously, on a lot of these things. So if you feel like you're hitting free limits, or it's not, you're only getting data that's not as up to date as the most recent paid for version. That's what I would say the threshold is, when you start hitting limits, and when you start getting a lack of contextual data. That's information. So yeah, I would say that has been what I've done. And also it depends what you need it for. So I pay for Midjourney, I know we're talking about Claude projects here, but I pay for Claude and I pay for Midjourney and I pay for others, but I pay for Midjourney because it does something that other things can't, and I'd much rather have the easier access into something and an efficiency. So that's how I make the decision about whether I'm going to pay for it or not, whether I'm hitting a limit and making it easy for myself.
Yeah. I think, very agree with all of that, 100%. And I think I always go for a month. If it's, let's say it's $15 a month, pay the $15, get your month. And if by the end of the month, if you, by your own personal judgment, if it's delivering you $15 or more in value, then maybe go into month 2. maybe month 4 you stop using it because another tool's become a bit more popular or is a bit better, then weigh it up. Don't be like me where I then forget I've got a subscription and and I keep paying for it. So keep an eye on it. But I think you just a lot of that's subjective as well, I think. And also if you're buying it for maybe your colleagues, or you're asking leadership to buy it for you and your colleagues at school, you're gonna have to present a good case of the quality and of the impact as well. So you're gonna have to dive into that yourself, I guess. Maven, how do Claude projects contribute to enhancing collaborative workflows and knowledge sharing within team? Yeah, we haven't really shown this, have we? Mainly because it's £28 a month. That's why we haven't shown it. Yeah. But there is that side of it, isn't there? So it's pricey. So it's £18, which I think we said was $23 a month for a single user. That goes up to $36, £28 per user, with a limit or with a minimum of 5 users, which is, so you're already looking at like what, $150 or over £100, and somewhere near that. I'm not good at quick maths, but to start using the team bit, I can see why if you're a team, you would get so much out of this, because essentially you can do what you just watched me and Ben do, but you can add team members and you can join the conversations as teams. So you could have like a 3-way conversation, or it would have to be a 6-way conversation, because you'd need 5 team members, and then Claude as well in there. So you could have like a proper team collaborative with the humans on your team and with the AI on your team as well. So I think it's exciting. I've never used it because I haven't got 5 members on my team, but I imagine it will be quite useful. Right, Ben. In fact, let's round up this and then we can pick a winner. Do you want to pick from the start, or in fact, not just from the start, anyone you want? Do you want to have a think, and I'll just do a bit of closing statements here? So
yeah, I've got one.
Awesome. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Like we said, Ben, if you head over to Ben's website, theideasguy.io, or scan that QR code, you can pick up his question cards, which I hear on LinkedIn, on social media, and from people, a lot of people who are using these within their teams on a day-to-day basis for team meetings, for planning meetings. So if you'd like to pick up your pack of cards, and Ben's got a journal as well that will facilitate in those ideas generation for you, please do check them out. Ben is also part of the EduFuturist podcast. I used to be a part of the EduFuturist podcast, but to step back last year. It's an amazing podcast, over nearly 300 episodes. Is that right now, Ben?
Yeah. Well, we've gone over 300 total, but 250 on the main thing. Yeah, so it's cool. Yeah.
Apparently, most podcasts don't go over 3 episodes, so you guys are doing something right. Listen to it. Thought leaders every week. Amazing podcast, and I mean, just going back and digging into the archive would be fruitful just in itself. Some of the amazing guests. Please do check that out. If you're wanting to join a community of teachers looking at AI, then I think we've just gone over 39,000 members in the AI Classroom Facebook. Come and join us. People share resources, concerns, and just general chat. If you're looking for other tools as well, we've got a repository, AIeducator.tools, where you can search for AI tools that teachers are using out there. Check out the Sunday AI Educator. I know a lot of you will be a part of this, because this is where you would have heard of this webinar every week. Thoughts, ideas, and practical guides on artificial intelligence. And just about finishing off my new book. Really excited about that. It's going to be called Infinite Education, the 4-step method for leading school change in the age of artificial intelligence. And it brings together all the strategic approaches I've been doing with schools over the last year. So if you want to register your interest and get updated about that, please do check out infiniteeducation.ai. Now I'll just remove this and let's get suspense. Who's going to win the signed copy of the AI Classroom and some of Ben's amazing cards. Ben, who's it going to be?
So I think the best question, it's really hard to know. It's from YouTube user, so I don't know if who that is, but I thought the question was
that's
really
going to make it impossible to get the prize.
So the person was you. I thought it was the best question, but if not, I've got a second one anyway.
Yeah,
but,
should
we go for the second one?
Yeah, just because I'm just thinking the only way to find out is to say get in contact, but then we could have 50 people get in contact saying the YouTube user. So
they're saying it's me. Can I send my email? Yeah, we can. So the other question, the other one that was there is, I think it was a really important question around something that we didn't actually get to, but it was a question around from further up. Where was it? I found it. You see, it is, I promise. It was a question asked around. Dan, I've lost it, my friend. This is not good because it was on my list and I've moved on. It was that one from Mavin that talked about how do Claude projects contribute to enhancing collaborative workflows and knowledge sharing within the team. So I thought that was really important to ask that. Actually, and I know that we talked about how teams for projects are expensive. It's in the start there, Dan, as well. I know that teams are expensive, but ultimately that collaborative workflow and knowledge sharing is super important for all of us in the age of AI. How we work together. I thought that was a really important question. So yeah.
Fantastic. If that is you, Marvin, I might have you on my list. I'm not sure. But do get in contact with me at dan@theaieducator.io. That's my email address. And just let me know it's you, and then we can work out how we'll get everything over to you. So congratulations for that. Also, just want to say a big thank you to Ben for joining us. He's got a busy week. The EduFuturists 2024 awards are this week, so I know he's took a precious hour out of his week to join us. So big thanks to you, Ben.
No, thanks for having me. I really appreciated it. Enjoyed it.
Check out theideasguy.io, and we will see you next time. Cheers, mate. Take care.
Cheers.